great to see you.
It's so great to see you.
You excited to see your brain?
Very excited to see my brain.
Well, hello.
Hi,
So excited.
I am too.
This has been a long time in the making.
It has been a long time in the making.
I was looking at what you filled out for me.
Okay.
It said you've had a history of some anxiety.
Some? That's polite. Are you kidding me? No, I have been anxious forever. I, as a kid, was a worrier, and it solely graduated from a dysregulated nervous system and a wildly over-imaginative mind into full-blown anxiety that really came on during law school with a massive force. I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder at the age of 22. I was put on Zoloft. It was life-saving, and I proceeded to take Zoloft for 2 decades.
So a baseline of anxiety ever since you were little.
Mm-hmm.
And you've had therapy as well.
Oh, yeah.
And through the therapy, did you ever figure out what the childhood anxiety was about?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that something you inherited from your mom or dad? Is it...
I think I inherited a dysregulated nervous system. But I think the anxiety began when I was the victim of molestation by an older kid when I was in the 4th grade. It was just one incident. I woke up in the middle of the night to somebody, to an older kid on top of me. I did what a lot of victims of that kind of abuse do. I just sort of disassociated. I left my body. And I remember the next morning, I walked downstairs and my mom was cooking breakfast because we were on a ski trip with a bunch of families. And I remember her turning and saying, "Oh, hi, honey, how'd you sleep?" And out of the corner of my eye, I saw the kid. And what I realize now looking back on this incident is that I immediately kind of braced because I wanted to tell her, but I knew she'd kill him. And I also didn't know how he was going to react. And so in that moment, my whole nervous system just went on hyper alert. And I lied and said, "I'm fine. I slept fine." And I think that moment was so pivotal because till this day, I actually write about this in this new book that I'm releasing, The High Five Habit. From that moment until being 52 years old, I would wake up every morning with the sensation that something was wrong, which is the exact same feeling that I felt when I woke up that morning after that traumatic incident.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it got anchored in
Yeah.
your nervous system.
Correct.
It's just your brain's wired a little bit differently. But we also know some of the most creative people in the world have differences in their brain.
Yes.
So, which I'll show you.
Oh my God, this is so cool.
I read you had a concussion.
Yes.
When you were a kid. Tell
Yes.
me about that.
So my friend Jody Bricken and I were riding our bikes. This accident is so weird. We get to a stop sign and this, wonderful gentleman pulls up in his little Buick and we kind of have this waving each other back. "No, you go, now you go, now you go." And then apparently there was this weird thing where, okay, I jump on my bike and go and he steps on the gas and hits me. And I go off my bike and I hit the hood of the car and hit the ground. And it was so kind of violent that I still have my gene thing is, but I've got literally still a scar right here from the pedal spike. And I still have a little piece of rubble or something in one of my ears. The other accident is my mom and I were driving winter, black ice. And somebody comes around us and tries to pass us, and then all of a sudden cuts too short, knocks us off. We go rolling over several times. I don't remember if I had my seatbelt on. My mom had her seatbelt on. I remember the dog went from the front seat of the Wagoneer to the back part of the Wagoneer, and we ended up on our side.
Wow.
But I remember that like it was yesterday. That is one of those trauma memories that is stored right there. If I walk to a mailbox and it's the snow that's I'm immediately back in that car. And the sensation is like I'm sitting in a washing machine and everything's tumbling around me, but I'm still.
So we do a study called SPECT, and SPECT looks at blood flow and activity. It looks at how your brain works, and I'm so glad we did it twice. Once at rest and once when you concentrate. And the reason I do that is I want to see your brain at work, but I want something to compare it to.
Okay.
And basically SPECT tells us three things: good activity, too little, or too much. And then my job is to balance it. So here is your baseline scale. So if we start here, you have a great cerebellum.
Well, thank you.
But part of your emotional brain, your limbic brain, is really busy. And there's sort of reasons for that. Looking at the outside surface, it's actually pretty healthy. A little bumpy, could be the accidents that you were in. But if I looked at this, I'd like, oh, pretty healthy. Now, I was concerned about your second scale because what happened is
Oh
your
my
brain
God, that looks
drops
terrible.
like a rock.
What do you mean it drops like a rock? What
When
does that mean?
you try to concentrate, you get significantly less activity in your brain.
Wow, why?
And what that means is the harder you try, the worse it gets.
Seriously?
Yeah.
This explains why I can't write a book.
This is why Adderall works for you.
Why does
Because it
Adderall work?
keeps- What Adderall, if I scanned you on Adderall, this would go up, this would go up. Do you see the bumpiness?
Yeah.
It's like boom. But on Adderall, it would prevent that from happening.
What does Adderall do?
It's a stimulant, so it increases the availability of dopamine. It's like glasses for people who can't see.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because people wear glasses. We both wear glasses. We're not dumb, crazy, or stupid. Our eyeballs are shaped funny. We wear glasses so we can focus. People who have ADD aren't dumb, crazy, or stupid. Their frontal lobes turn off when they should turn on. And the medicine is like glasses.
That's
for your
so
brain.
interesting. What is the function of dopamine when it comes to focus and actually being productive?
Well, without dopamine, so think of somebody with Parkinson's disease. Is they don't move right, but they also don't think right. And they get depressed because they just don't have you almost think of it as the molecule of joy. They don't have the motivation, the focus, the horsepower to get stuff done. And ADD, your brain betrays you. You put your foot on the gas pedal and your car goes slower rather than faster.
Wow, it's so true.
How I often diagnose it in teenage girls is they go through relationships. And people with ADD, I don't know about you, they can be conflict seeking, or they play this game called Let's Have a Problem. And so they get dopamine from falling in love. New love is a drug.
Yes. as ever.
And after that wears off, a couple months, or in adolescence, a couple
Were you like
weeks,
following me around in high school? I mean, I was literally what I called a serial monogamous cheater, where I would fall in love and then the dopamine would wear off. I figured it was part of my coping mechanism for anxiety. I'd attach myself to somebody else. It would be new and exciting, absolutely amazing. And within a year, it's like, now I have to deal with myself again, but you're the problem. I'm out of here. I fall in love with somebody else. Right back in it.
That's it. So it's a constant cycle of dopamine. Dopamine from falling in love, and then after it wears off, dopamine from fighting.
Wow.
And then, all the drama around breaking up, and then falling in love, and fighting, and breaking up, and falling in love, and fighting, and
Wow.
breaking up. And a little bit of a stimulant stops that.
That's incredible.
Because they're using their frontal lobes rather than just their emotional brain.
Wow. Okay.
So we want to turn this on, and probably when you're taking Adderall, you're turning this on. to make it healthy. But
can
we
I ask
want
you
it
a
to
question
be
about that left
healthier.
side? So when I look at that, what I think about is a sponge. You know what I mean? Like a sponge that's full is softer and plump, and when you wring it out of what's filling it up, it gets kind of bumpy and full of holes. Is that sort of?
That's a great analogy. What do you do when you exercise?
I've practiced yoga for 20 years. I hike. I cycle. That's basically what I do.
Do you ever play a racket sport?
I played competitive tennis growing up. Got pretty burnt out.
So that would be great.
I play
Because
paddle, but I hardly consider that much of a sport.
it activates your cerebellum. So my favorite is table tennis.
Gotcha. Like
'Cause
ping
it's
pong, you
faster.
mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love ping pong. I did not expect. That's a drinking game. That's not like a sport.
No, we're not beer pong.
No, I know. I'm still saying I like to play with a beer in my hand.
Since we're talking about beer,
Oh God, you're not going
Tell
to tell
me
me to
about
stop
alcohol.
drinking. What would you like to know? I have a love affair with alcohol. Not like drinking way too much, but I love the ritual of making a cocktail at night. Now I'm like, oh God. Why are you wiping your face?
because I'm trying to be like thoughtful, tactful.
Instead of my dad? Okay, here we go. I should stop drinking?
Yeah.
Like stop?
So the American Cancer Society came out last year
Uh-huh.
against any drinking
At all?
because it increases your risk of 7 different kinds of cancer.
Wow.
And like, I have no dog in the fight, but when I started scanning people, their brains didn't look right when they were drinking. They looked older than they were. And then I published a study it's the largest imaging study ever on 64,000 scans. And alcohol prematurely aged the brain. And my wife's a nurse, so why does she put alcohol on your skin before she gives you a shot? Because it disinfects the area. You have 100 trillion bugs in your gut. With that kind of alcohol, you're actually hurting your microbiome. And your microbiome, those bugs in your gut, make neurotransmitters. They help you digest your food.
Right.
They detoxify your body. They're really important. And so if you didn't need to drink, I would come up with a new ritual that you love.
How are gummies? I mean, is weed okay?
No.
Ah.
So your homework is I want your labs, whatever labs have been done, and then I think hyperbaric chamber would be amazing for you. And the supplements, they make a huge difference.
Okay, great.
80% of my NFL players scored better cognitively, emotionally.
Great. I'll try your supplements. I'm down.
I think that's what I do.
Awesome.
Question?
This is super cool.
Good.
Awesome.
What did
You're
you-
amazing. I learned so much.
I did too. That's sort of the cool thing here.
Yeah.